was in 2017 and I went to an event and the keynote speaker said, forget International Women's Day, it's International Women's Millennium because we're in the energy of the two. So he had me at hello.
Hello and welcome to the Numerology Show, where we unlock the secrets of numbers and how they shape our lives, our businesses, and our destinies. I'm your host, Hayden Crawford, numerologist, colour therapist, and founder of the Dreamtime Academy. In this podcast, we'll explore the fascinating world of numerology, uncovering its profound impact on our personal and our professional lives. Each episode will dive deep into the vibrational frequencies of numbers, their spiritual significance, and how you can use them to create success, abundance, and alignment. Today, I'm so thrilled to introduce our very special guest, Jo Soley, the Bizology specialist. Now, Jo is a highly respected business coach and author of Bizology 101, who helps entrepreneurs align their strategies with the power of numerology. She teaches how understanding your unique numeric blueprint can unlock greater success, flow, and purpose in your business. So, if you're ready to discover how numerology can transform the way you work and thrive, stay tuned. This is going to be a powerful conversation. So let's dive in. First, welcome, Jo. And could you tell us, firstly, what drew you into numerology and when did you realize it could be applied to business?
Thank you for having me, Hayden. So I've always been fascinated by numbers. I've always loved them. Was a little girl when I couldn't even write, I used to ask my mother to write a list of everyone in my class and I'd put numbers against them. So I'd always loved numbers, not so much maths and times table, but the vibrational frequency of numbers. And it was in 2017 and I went to an event and the keynote speaker said, forget International Women's Day, it's International Women's Millennium because we're in the energy of the two. So he had me at hello because we were born into the 19, which is 10, which is 1, which was really masculine, right? We had Thatcher and Scargill and Reagan and men led and women followed, no judgment, that's the way it was. We had no tech and we had lots of innovation, which is 1. And if we were poorly, we'd just get a bottle of Lucasade. We just got on with it, which was very 1. And now we're in the energy of the number 2, which is in the tarot, the High Priestess. So forget International Women's Day, it's International Women's Millennium. What's happening in this 2 energy? More people using their intuition, more balance, more flow, but we are the negative of our numbers. So the negative of 2 is lack and fear and panic and worry, right? So we've got loads of women running businesses. We've got lots of women playing more masculine sports. Men used to lead, women followed. Now it's balancing it out a little bit. We're more considered. So that night was like massive light bulbs going off. Huge aha moments. I was like, I really want to delve deeper into my numbers. And I knew I was a 1, the leader, the entrepreneur, but I didn't really realize the impact that it could have on my business. I went down a rabbit hole, don't do that. I read loads and loads of books. I studied at the London College of Psychic Studies, and bit by bit, I thought I've really understood who I am as a business owner and I want to help other people do this. So that's my journey.
Wow. I love that. That's so, so good. It's really interesting to see how it really did start coming in very early for you and how it progressed over the years into what it is today is just fantastic. So, like, how was knowing your own numbers? How has that actually changed the way that you run your own business then?
So, I'm 51, never married, no kids, right? That's very life path one, okay? Ones, sevens, fives don't really need a relationship. No judgment. We can want one, but we don't need one. Three, sixes, and nines, they're to be connected. So I was always looking at my friends who were married with big families, thinking, well, like, is there something wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with me. I don't need that. And I'm here to be the leader. I'm here to be innovative. I'm here to do something different, hence Bizology. So I have to be self employed. And then from that place, I have to do something that hasn't been done before. I'm often misunderstood. And I have to make sure that I am not codependent. So when I was really appreciating what it means to be a life path one, I was like, okay, so this isn't happening because I'm being a two. I'm being the power behind the throne. I was like a business angel helping other people in their businesses. And you're not the number next to you. So I wasn't meant to be being a two. I was meant to be being a one. So then I needed to kind of shift, turn the kind of boat a little bit, turn the ship, change direction. I'm born on the 4th of the 4th, and 4 is about structure, control, routine, and system. We've got 4 fingers, 4 seasons, 4 directions, 4 parts of your brain, 4 pairs to your DNA. 4 is about being organized. I'm a workaholic. I'm a dog with a bone. Nothing gets past me, right? It's easy for me to stay in 4. And while I was helping my clients, I was being very organized, very 4, very systemized, very structured, and really like being in lots of groups, and that's not one energy. I wasn't being a one. So I kind of had a little meeting with myself and thought, okay, because I think my soul knew that I had to move forward. I'd lived overseas for 14 years. I wasn't a homeowner. My goal was to buy a house. And my soul knew to move forward, things had to change. So in my personal year one, I bought Bizology into it was a big leap of faith, but let go, let God. And I just bought it in. And then, like, business isn't easy, right? You know that. It's the Olympics for personal development. It brings up your stuff. But if you trust in your numeric blueprint, which is your soul contract, then you can move forward. So I just started to be more of a leader. I started to be more of an entrepreneur. I started to just lean in more to my numbers, and I work with 5 main numbers, and then bit by bit my business grew. I bought my house. I bought a new car. I went to St. Lucia for my birthday. It's not about that. It's not about the material, but money gives you choice, right? So when I started to build my business, then I could, yeah, move forward. And now I've helped hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands and thousands business, same thing.
That's amazing that, that by just understanding and fully realizing the potential of not only the number 10, but also the number 4, that you were able to fully align. And then when you lived in faith, when you fully trusted the purpose that's embedded within your key numbers, it brought in a lot of abundance for you and prosperity. And that's the power behind it. I totally understand where you're coming from with that because, as when I realized I was a ruling number 9 and I'm here to be of service, that's when everything shifted for me as well. Because I used to work in IT recruitment for many, many years, for 15 years actually, and I always felt like I was living someone else's life. And even though it's being of service, it wasn't the sort of service work that I wanted to do because I was never really bothered about making money as a nine. It was
Yeah.
more about just like being in an environment where I was actually helping people. So I got too focused on the accumulation of wealth, and it took the joy out of it, you know. So when I aligned with the healing and humanitarian aspects of the nine, everything started flowing in my life as well. So I totally identify with what you're saying. It shifts everything, doesn't it? It takes you back into alignment with your soul contract.
Yeah, definitely. And there's no mistakes. If you got a number, you got it for a reason. So your nine is all about service over success, impact over income. And when you focus on helping people and not the money, because eight is not nine, then you the income can come. So Adele is a nine, the singer, but she made it all about the ballads, all about the emotion, all about the songs, and then the success comes. So yeah, I love that you're. I always smile when I see the number nine. But what do we do in the UK when we need help? We ring 999.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. It's funny because I just want to show you something quickly as well as we go through your questions today. This is bottle number 10 in the color mirrors system that I work with. And it's
Ah,
called the Wheel of Fortune, and it's gold over olive green. So this is very much the entrepreneur and
okay.
the person who knows how to consciously create their own reality. So it's all about
Ah,
individual expression. So they form part of your soul colors. Obviously, gold, which is about value, and the olive
yeah.
green is a soft feminine power. So the 10 carries a very, very soft feminine leadership quality that can never be abused. It's a beautiful number. And I find
Ah,
so many ruling number 10s that are in have their own business. You know, they're
yeah,
entrepreneurs like
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Oh, I love
amazing.
that. Thanks for showing me.
That's all right. Now then, have you ever had a wow moment where numerology revealed something unexpected in your business journey?
Yeah, so as I opened Bizology and moved forward, everybody was saying to me, can I have you got a book? Can I read your book? And I was thinking, I'm not an author because my energies are very business in my chart, 1, 4, 8, 9, 22, right? And I thought, can I write a book? But then I realized my name, Joanna Elizabeth Soley, my whole name, is a three, the communicator. So your name isn't who you are, it's who you look like you are. People treat you like that, and then we behave like that because words are spells. That's why we call it spelling. So I was like, oh, this is what people are seeing. And my soul urge from the vows is also a three. So then I was like, okay. So I took 9 months because we're pregnant for 9 months. We birth things in 9 months. Nine is also about completion. Nine life paths have a lot of endings in their life. They're meant to. So I took 9 hours every day when I won. So that was really interesting. Like people saying, like, where's your book? I'm like, a book. And then it's like, oh yeah, they're seeing me as a three. So that's why, like, I'm good on stage. I had a podcast, I can talk, which isn't exactly in my numeric chart, but it's how I appear. So people treat me like that. So then I behave like that.
Absolutely. I love that as well. It's interesting that the three is the writer, you know, it is the person who's loves music, lyrics, poetry, the arts and the healing arts. It all really applies. So it's interesting that that's how you were seen by people, which is really fascinating. So yeah, I can imagine that being a huge wow for you. So if someone's life path number doesn't seem to match their current business or career, what do you advise that they do?
So it's all about leaning in to the energy of the life path number, really, because 75% of what's going on in your life and business is your life path. It's easier to be other numbers, but if people say to me, mainly six, right? I'm not a nurturer, I'm not a nurturer. Well, how's life working out for you? And the answer is not very well. It could be better. Okay. So your life path is the path you're here to walk this lifetime. It's your destiny. So if people aren't aligning with their life path number, like yourself when you were talking about like your recruitment days, you felt you were living another life. There's a disconnect. So I always like to really, really connect people to their life path number. So say if they're a seven, right? Thinking and seeking and learning and questioning and asking and analyzing and data, but they're in sales. And sales is really about networking and connecting and the people business, but they struggle with that. Then I can shine a light on, okay, so these are some of the ways that you could help move forward. So I would say start with the life path number, really, because if there feels like, yeah, a disconnect, that things aren't fitting together, that there's a missing piece of the puzzle, it's because in the life path number, the path isn't being walked. Does that make sense?
100%, absolutely. Yeah. So the life path number in Pythagorean numerology, which is the form of numerology I specialize in, is known as the ruling number. So it's the same thing. It's the way we calculate it is just by adding up all the numbers in your date of birth and then reducing it down to a single digit, unless it
Yeah.
totals 10, 11, or 22, which remains as a 22 in Pythagorean numerology slash over four. So I can understand what you're saying. The ruling number is the number that really carries your true soul purpose. So by using that as your dominant influence, that it will help you to really fall fully in alignment with exactly what you're here to do. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
which is wonderful. And so what's one myth then about numerology in business that you'd love to debunk?
So there's quite a few myths. I'm writing a blog actually at the moment about myths. I'll send it to you. um, But the main one, you can't be a life path 33 at the moment, right? You can be a six, you can be 11, you can be a 22, and 11 and 22 are master numbers. They're huge. They're super, super, super old souls. They've been here before. 11 is the spiritual teacher. 22 is the architect of change. So 11 is about the inner world. 22 is about the outer world. These people, once they've been here, the world is never the same again. It transcends the world. But Jesus was a 33 and he died at 33. And 33 is about sacrifice. So you can have 33 in your name, you can have 33 in your deeper chart, but you can't be a life path 33. And really, at the moment, I don't think people could handle being a 33 with everything going on in the world. So in my like form of numerology, and it sounds like your form, Hayden, you can't be a 33. So people like, I'm a 33. It's like, no, you're a six.
I say that as well.
Oh,
I
good.
honestly believe what you're saying. In Pythagorean numerology, you don't have a ruling number 33. We reduce it down to a six. It doesn't exist. But in other forms of numerology, sometimes it does come up. The 33, from my awareness, is about mastering love. So it's about learning to become selfless without being a people pleaser. And it's
Yeah.
interesting that it does carry the vibration of Yeshua, because it is all about mastering love and which character in our of the ascended masters is more loving than Yeshua, really. It's just him. So you're right, humanity doesn't have the capabilities to master love at the same level. We are all ascending, but we're not there yet. And it's interesting when the 33 does come up as I almost call it like a hidden influence in numerology. I'll always sort of note it, but I won't sort of put it in people's charts or reports. I'll note it. And it's interesting because they often come up actually as either Hydean starseeds or Andromedan starseed origins. So I've noticed an alignment with that. So they are the some of the more advanced um, civilizations that have come in as star seeds. So it's fascinating to observe when you sort of move deeper and deeper into the master number 33. And actually I live in a house number 33, and it's been the best house I've ever lived in my life. It's just been fantastic because obviously it carries that vibration of the six, doesn't it? Which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
creativity. And of course, if you live in a house number 33, you're going to be really creative. There's actually been
yeah.
three babies born in this house, and what's more creative than giving birth?
Oh, wow.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
for me, it's definitely Christ consciousness.
Yes.
Water boils at 33. In the Islam, those like the 33 brothers. So it is Christ consciousness, but I believe our houses choose us. I don't have six in my chart really, and I'm in a 42 6 house. So, that supports me. So 33 house, amazing. Love that.
It is a lovely place to live. I really do love it. Okay, then. So, you actually have mentioned already that you work with so many entrepreneurs, like literally hundreds and even thousands over the years that you've been doing this. Um, so, what's the most common mistake that entrepreneurs make, do you think, when they ignore their numbers?
Think like with the example of being a life path six, the nurturer, that it's like, oh, that's not me, but it is you. And the life path isn't given, it's the path we're here to walk. So it's about making friends with it and activating it. But then also, they might have a coach, and their coach is amazing at what they do, but their coach is amazing at what they do because they're following their numeric blueprint. So then they try and emulate that, and it's not going to work because the coach is maybe working with eight business, and they might be born on the fifth change, whereas the actual business owner might be a two, the sensitive, all about emotion, eating the elephant with a teaspoon, baby steps. They might be born on the seventh, which is a bit more like retreating, thinking, seeking, learning. So there's no cookie cutter approach in business, and Bizology is about uniqueness. Numerology is about uniqueness. We're all different. You're here to do a job I can't do. I'm here to do a job you can't do. If it doesn't get done, it doesn't go to the next person. It literally remains undone. We don't really need sales and marketing because we all need each other. So aligning to our numeric blueprint really helps us understand what we are here to do, not the lady next door or Joe Blogs down the street, what we are here to do. And I think we're not taught, are we? Nobody said to you at school, Hayden, you're working with the energy of the number nine. It would have helped me a lot sooner if I knew that, but there's no mistakes. Timing is divine. But I think it's very easy to go, oh yeah, I know my life path number, but it's not about knowing it, it's about embodying it.
100%. I wish it was taught at school. I think
Yeah,
that, I had real problems when I went through choosing my options, and the careers advice people at school. They could never get any sense out of me because if back then I thought I wanted to be a pub landlord. That was the best I could come up with. But if I'd been taught numerology at school, it would have given me clear direction and focus. It's a shame it took me up until I was 48. Well, no, actually, I think I was 43 when I fully, started understanding the truth of the path that I was here to follow. And it's all written in your soul contract, isn't it? So it's interesting that,
yeah,
do you ever find entrepreneurs get very resistant to their numbers? And if so, how do you help them to embrace their unique spiritual path?
yeah. I think when people find me, they know that there's a force higher than them and they're interested to learn this real force. But I have come across resistance because if they're not working in alignment with their energies, their numeric energies, then it challenges how they see themselves. So, like I said to you, I had to have a Bizology date with myself, and things had to change, and I had to let go of a lot of people, and I had to shift things, and my boundaries were shocking, and all the rest of it. People don't like change, they're resistant to change, especially if they're a bit older. A lot of my clients are kind of mid 40s to mid 60s, so it can be challenging. Um, so my one piece of advice is we are the negatives of our numbers. Everything else is just guidance. So, as a life path one, I can be too quick, too impatient, jump over a mountain, then look behind me. It's all about speed. Self-worth as well can be quite low. And I can want everything yesterday, but the day you plant the seed isn't the day you eat the fruit. As a nine, for yourself, it is all about helping people, but through your life, you can give and give and give and give, and people take and take and take and take. And then you can think, sod this for a game of soldiers and make it about you, and then life won't work. And boundaries have to be in place so that you can give from the overflow of the cup and not the cup itself. So I think the best place to start is to look at the negative of our numbers and then appreciate the difference between your expression, your name, and your life path. So I'm a one, but I'm seen as a three. So people think, good old Joe, let's go for a drink, let's have some fun. I'm normally in leopard print. I'm normally in like flamboyant print, which is very three. So Hayden Crawford, no middle name, is seen as a one. You're seen as a leader. You're seen as an entrepreneur. So people will come to you for advice. They will look to you for innovation. They look to you to help them create dynamic results, but you're here to help heal. So that's good to have a look at the differences there. But yeah, there is resistance. And a lot of people, I might upset some people now, but say to me about human design. And to me, numerology is esoteric, ancient wisdom from the Egyptians, from the ancient Greeks. Pythagoras, I was lucky I went to his cave last year. I'm taking a group of people back to his cave in September in Greece, but he is the godfather of numerology. He put numerology on the map, right? And human design, no judgment, but it was put together by a hippie in the 70s. So, and it's confusing, and the more confusion, the more delusion. So that's why I like numerology, because it's less reference points. So less reference points, and then you can just take that information and then use it.
Absolutely. It's highly personalized, as you said. And the Einstein said that the future of medicine is going to be vibrational. And of course, the more, and I think the orthodox medicine is going to follow that blueprint eventually as well, where they're going to start treating the individual as opposed to treating the masses in the same way. So numerology, sort of shines back, what a person actually needs. And then you can use vibrational medicine to be able to treat those. And I've studied human design myself actually and found the same thing. There's too many different elements to it, and it does get confusing. But what I have also noticed with human design is that it aligns a lot with the same truths as numerology. So they mirror
Yeah.
each other, and actually there's a common thread. But it's just a lot more simplistic numerology to be able to integrate, I think, into your life, isn't it?
Yeah, because if you're a human design practitioner, you're living it every single day, same as if you're a numerologist, same as if you're an astrologer, which is also quite confusing, can be with all the planets and houses. Um, and people are busy, and we're in this throwaway convenient world. So it needs to be accessible. And that's why I like numerology, because you can say, right, I'm in a personal year seven. It's about thinking, learning, asking, questioning. If I do go too crazy, it's not going to work. I think it's more digestible.
Yeah. 100%. It's very easy to anchor those truths and to follow a roadmap so that you don't get lost again. I mean, I've found that since I've really woken up to my day number is a seven and my ruling number is a nine, and since I've aligned with both of those, I don't go off track anymore, and I feel always like I know what the next step is, as long as I honor the truths of that. And as you said, living in the positive aspect of the nine and the seven, as opposed to the negative aspects as well. You said something quite interesting there as well, about we were talking about names earlier on, and there was something in the literature that I read that you gave me to read up about you before the interview, and it says about the initial of your first names. Of your first name and what that means for your business success. Would you just elaborate on that for me, please?
Yeah, of course. So sometimes in numerology, the first letter of the first name is called the cornerstone, and this is how you're first seen. So look at the H. It's like a ladder to success. It's eight. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, eighth letter of the alphabet. And eight is about goal setting and high standards and professional, and you're sat in front of me and your background looks really professional, and you're all like branded in your beautiful t-shirt and your hair looks great, so the first thing we see with Hayden is professional, quality, high standards. So that's what people will see. And then your numeric energies will kick in. And look at the H, right? It's quite grounded and it is about moving forward in life. Look at the J, and it's the 10th letter, and I'm a 10-1, right? Straight down the line, leave me alone, let me get on with it. And then look at the little J, it wobbles from side to side, right? At times, I will need support. Okay. J's need money in the bank to feel secure. So give me another initial, somebody close to you.
Oh, okay. My husband's called Mark, so an M.
Okay. M, right? 13th letter of the alphabet. Look at the M, ups and downs in life. Okay. That's fine. That's what he's here to deal with. And 13 is 4. So when people see him, they see like a safe pair of hands, and then his numbers kick in.
That's right, because he's actually a ruling number eight as well. So he likes to be in
Okay.
control, very organized. He's the Oracle. Everyone calls him the Oracle.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, it's amazing. Letters are part, the first thing that we see. It's our first foot forward in the world. Um, and so S, ups and downs, twists and turns, trials and tribulations, which is the 19, and it's a karmic debt number. T can be across 20, can be a bit of a martyr. E, 5, strong, rigid lines, not wobbling, not moving. So, yeah, every letter has a vibrational energy, but also the shape. So, yeah, that's like, blows your mind.
It really does, because it's all there in black and white, literally. It's
Yeah,
sacred geometry, isn't it, in its
yeah.
most basic form. Um, Interesting that you were talking about the number 19 there, and you mentioned it was karmic. In my understanding, it's karmic because people with a 19, they want to be leaders, but they fear the responsibilities of leadership. Is that right?
Yeah, so there's four karmic debt numbers: 13, 4, 14, 5, 16, 7, and 19, 10, 1. I'm actually a 19, 10, 1 because I'm 4, 4, 7, 3. The Queen, she was a 16, 7. And what did she have? What's 16, 7 about? Duty. And what did she do? Duty, right? So the 19, think of the sun in the tarot. What happens if the sun's out for too long? You get burnt. So in a previous life, my last life, I would have taken something that wasn't mine. I would have not been responsible. So this time I've got to be a leader, but I can't be too dependent on others. I can't be codependent. I can be hyper focused as well. So everything you said, perfectly true about the 1910 13:4, 13 gets feared because at the Last Supper there was 13 and then Judas betrayed Jesus. You get in a lift in Italy, it'd be 12, 12a, 14. 13 in the tarot is death, but for me it's transformation. 13 can't take shortcuts. 14, temptation. In the tarot, it's temperance, so it needs balance. And 16 in the tarot is tower. So 16 needs a connection to God. So you're born on the 16th, so you need a deep connection to Source God Divine, which you've got.
It's interesting, yeah. So the 16 relating to the tower in traditional tarot, I've often found that I learn through the tower experience, so I almost have to
Yeah.
go through that whole explosion of old structures in my life to get the consequent clarification. So it's absolutely 100% accurate all the time. It's brilliant. And the 14 as well is karmic as well, isn't it? And it relates to
Yeah.
whether you've restricted someone's freedom or had your own freedom restricted in a previous or what I call a parallel incarnation. So there's that whole freedom aspect that's essential for the 14s, isn't it?
Yeah, 14 is temptation and addiction. So we've just got in this lifetime, we need to have balance, which is in the tarot, the temperance, which, she's pouring water. So it's all about that balance. And yeah, you're right. The 16 is also called Le Maison Dieu, the house of God, because it's like disaster and the only way is up and then it's rebuilding.
Yeah. And the 13, transformation Pluto is one of the bottles in the color mirrors. It's bottle number 13. It's all about transformation. And it's going through the dark night of the soul and heart to come out stronger. So it's this beautiful violet and lilac bottle. And of course, that helps you to go through the releasing of grief. And, it's almost like relates to the Saint Germain and the violet flame stuff on the seventh
Okay.
ray of freedom and transformation as well. So
Ah.
it's magical, really, how it all kind of aligns. Brilliant. Okay, so what's the best way then for, people that are listening today to start working with their numbers today?
So we've given examples with your myself and yourself. So I'm a life path 1, born on the 4th. You're a life path 9, born on the 16th, which is 7. So it's easy for you to be 7, kind of learning and seeking and questioning and asking, and you'll need space and time out. And you could be private at times and you need to retreat. Okay, it's easy for me to be 4. Like my bed's made, my diary's organized, I've got lists, have lists, right? But that's not going to get us the juice. That's not going to help us move forward. That those numbers are gifts we've been given so we can use in our business. The juice is the life path number. So I've got, I'm sure you've got resources as well, but I've got apps on my website. If people want to put their details in and I pop up with a little video, because your life path, as I keep saying, is your destiny. It's what you're here to do. But we've got other numbers in our chart which are easier to be, that help us navigate. So I don't want to be the builder, the 4, who leads, sometimes the 1. I want to be 1, the leader who builds. Okay. So everything about Bizology has been building my apps, building my services, building my podcast, writing my book, writing my planner, creating my Bizology Odyssey. Okay, it's always about the building on foundations. And so for you, Hayden, you don't want to be the seeker who is sometimes the humanitarian. Yeah. You want to be the humanitarian. You want to be the hermit in the tarot. You want to shine the light for other people so they can follow you. But the way you do that is to learn. The more you learn, the more you earn, because that's the seven energy, but you don't want to stay in the learning. You want to be able to shine the light for people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's almost like the day number is a bit of a secondary influence, isn't it? It's almost like if you try and live by your day number, then it's probably not going to result in the best possible outcome. But it's important to also integrate that number into your whole life purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to ignore it. There's talents and gifts there, but it's like an easier energy. So when you were a little boy, when I was a little girl, I'd have been very four, you'd have been very seven. If we suddenly were all sat round a table with other people, you would pick that energy up in somebody's chart. If they're born on the 6th or the 15th or the 24th, you would think, oh, they're quite six, but there might not necessarily be a life path six. It's easier to be. So if you're struggling in life, go to that number to get yourself unstuck a bit.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's really interesting to sort of hear it from that perspective, actually. So, okay then. So, what else can I ask you? What about the listeners of the podcast today? Where can they find out more about you and the services that you offer? I know you've got your book, Bizology 101, but you mentioned you've got a podcast as well. So could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so if you go to all the W's, josoley.com, JOSOLEY.com, on the homepage, there's like start here. So on that page, I've got apps, I've got my podcast, I've got free downloads, I've got blogs, I've got my book, Bizology 101. So my social channels. So thank you, Hayden. That's the best place, my website, and then start here.
Wonderful. That sounds absolutely amazing. I'll put all the links for all of your services and all the best places for people to be able to contact you in the information underneath the video so that you can just go straight to that and get all the information that you require from Joe. Now, as any final words, is there anything else that you feel that you haven't had the opportunity to share today that you feel is essential that people should know about the work that you do and Bizology?
I think we've spoken a lot about life path numbers, but I will say what's really key is we work in 9 year cycles and there's better years and easier years to do things. So I'm in a personal year seven, which is about thinking and seeking and learning and questioning and asking. I've just worked Hayden's out before we jumped on a call. You're in a 7 year as well, which is the same. So in a 7 year, nobody really rings you back. It's a great year to go deeper with your podcast. I've been doing a lot of research this year. So every year you get the chance to feel what it's like to be that number. So sometimes the tide is in, like go, 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 and sometimes the tide is out. So in a 7 year, the tide is really out. So that after knowing your life path number, then you want to know your personal year because that kind of gives you a theme for what you should be working on from birthday to birthday.
And of course, then there's also the universal year number as well. So obviously, because we're in
Yeah,
2020, what we're in 2025 now, so
five,
that works out as being a nine, which is
nine.
Mars fire energy, and you can see what's happening across the world right now. It's a year of completion, moving into new beginnings next year. So does that play a significance? And if you were to say where that features, the universal year number over the personal year cycle influence, would you say that it's more relevant or less relevant in a person's experience of reality?
So if we go back to 2023, that was seven. What happened that year? Bigger consciousness with AI. What's 7 about? Science. What happened last year in the world? 2024, 8, governmental elections and redistribution of 8, power, right? 2025, what's going to happen this year? A big, more healing. More healing is needed in the world. The minute we went into 2025, it felt softer. Last year, everyone was like, come to my event, buy my stuff, very A energy, quite aggressive energy. They say that half the world's population actually voted last year. That's huge because it was all about that shift, that A energy, the strength in the tarot. This year is about the hermit. So it's more endings, more completion, softer energy. Give yourself some healing. Be gentler with people around you. Love, for goodness sake.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like in the color mirrors, bottle number 9, which is our universal year number, is called Mars, and it's fire energy. And if you think about what happened right at the beginning of this year, there was the big fires in
Fire.
California, and of course, there's the threat of war, so it's all of this completion that's taking place as well. So it's very, very significant as well. And so is that good then for us as a collective to then start working on our humanitarian issues? Is it good for us to come together and help support each other as well?
Yeah, definitely. So in 2025, it is more about community, compassion, healing, connection, understanding. And like I said, I feel that it's softer. So to answer your question earlier, when you said, how does it differ, the universal year and the personal year? So this is what everyone's experiencing the 2025, but then we have our own personal year cycle. So it is softer. People, we've got a long way to go, haven't we, for world healing and peace, for goodness sake. However, there are opportunities this year, more so than last year, because last year we had to do the 8 things, which was about sort out the governments and election and the power, and then the 9 energy. There's opportunities this year for global healing, for community healing, for personal healing.
So what are your predictions then for next year, with us moving into a one again?
So that's interesting. I was thinking about that the other night. So I think there will be a lot of people letting go of old ways, this in the 9, because 9's about endings: shed, delete, purge, release, let go. And then 1 is seed the new. So I feel there'll be new ways of doing things. And we're only in February, but can feel already. So I know you're based in Oz, but Strictly Come Dancing, right, is huge in the UK. And last year, Strictly's Dark Heart got very competitive in the middle of 2024. There was lots in the press, and people were like, is this actually gonna survive? Because it's 20 years and it's our biggest kind of Saturday night winter TV show in the UK. Anyway, towards the end of 2024, we had Chris McCausland, who's a comedian who's blind, Life Path 9. With Diane, who's from Australia, Life Path 2. 9 plus 2 is 11, right? 9 and 2 is 11. So that is inspiration. And it melted our hearts. He did so amazingly. He won, and it healed the whole Strictly thing as we were going in to 2025. So it's a kooky example, but you can see it playing out. It got quite CEO aggressive, everything in 2024. It is gentler in 2025. So you're a 9, I'm a 1, you and me together. We're all about like new beginnings, innovation, leadership.
Fantastic. I see. Yeah, so I understand what you're saying. So if you are to look at partnerships and ruling numbers within partnerships and how they come together within a specific year alignment, then it can create profound change.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you and your partner, um, eight energy. So property will be important, business will be important, quality will be important.
So when's that next year?
So always, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
Okay. Yeah. Of
yeah,
course.
but you can also apply it to what's going on right now. Yeah.
So how will that impact us next year then?
So in 2026, which is Universal Year One, a year for new beginnings, a year for originality, a year for independence, then you two, I don't know if you work together, but you might want to I don't, I was going to say you could look at new property, you could look at new ways of working, you could look at like um new funds, it's like seed in the new, plant in the new
Mm.
that can then grow for the next 9 years.
That's right. And it's funny because we're both moving into our because we're both born on October the 16th. Um
Ah,
we've got the same birthday. So we go through our personal year cycles the same and we will be going into well it's a nine actually next year because we're in our eight at the moment. I know you said seven earlier, but I think it's an eight that we're in at the moment. And unless you calculate it differently, moving into a nine next year. And then the year after that, it's moving into a one again. And we are thinking about um, moving country. We're going to we might move back
ah,
to to Europe. We're thinking about moving to France.
oh,
So
gorgeous.
could that fall in alignment, do you think?
Well, the way I work out your personal year is from your last birthday. So a lot of people do it from the 1st of Jan. So 16 plus 10 plus 2024 is 2050, which is 7. So at the moment you're in a 7 year, which is thinking, seeking, learning, questioning, and asking. Then you'll go into your 8 year on your birthday. Um, so that's a year to reap the rewards of the last 8 years. Then you go into a 9 year, which is endings, and then you're going to your 1 year. But if you were to think about moving next year, you will be using the energy of 2026, which is a one.
Okay, right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So it's kind of like it's all about endings and new beginnings, whatever way you look at it, I suppose, isn't it? It's at the right time for those things to
Yeah.
take place. It's interesting, isn't it? How what are you in? What's personal year are you in?
7, so the
Okay.
same as you.
Okay.
So my birthday's on the 4th of the 4th. So I am nearly in my 8 years. So what happens? The universe ramps up the energy of the 7 year if you haven't done enough seven things. And to be honest, I have. I've done lots of research, lots of retreating, lots of realignment. I'm conscious that in March, which is because I use personal months as well. So I'm in a 9 month at the moment. Everyone's needing me a bit more. It's been quite emotional, which is 9. I'll be in a 1 month next month. Um, so I'll be doing a few new things, but I'm conscious to squeeze every last drop of my 7 year so that I can really make the most of my 8 year. In an 8 year, it's like quality, high standards, goal setting, treat your business like a business, boom, 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 boom.
It's interesting because you've got a slightly different take on the seven personal year from in Pythagorean numerology. The seven is a year of sacrifice, like if you're not living your purpose. So if you've gone off track to leading your purpose, then this is the year that you might, your job might come to an end or a toxic relationship might finish. So it's a year of, it's what we call a Mack truck year, actually, in numerology. It's where you metaphorically get run over by a truck, but it's kind of designed at a soul level to help you get back on track to leading your purpose. Um, but also, if you are living your purpose already and you're in your seven, then that's when you might be called to teach what you know. So I found my personal year sevens have always been really significant. And if I look back down my timeline, like I was in one 9 years ago, and that was when I lost my job in recruitment, in IT recruitment that I'd done for 15 years. And it was because I hadn't made the decision that it wasn't right for me. I was stuck. I was too scared to bring about any change. And of course, then, of the whole blueprint of numerology took over, and it broke down everything that I'd worked for 18 years. So it was like going through a midlife awakening. Um, and it was probably the most profound period of time to go through that, almost like that sacrifice of everything that I'd been working towards up until that point. So it was quite scary. Is that the same with the seven that you understand with the year?
Yeah, let me show you one thing. Let me show you one thing. So definitely with regards to loss. So cre I've created this Bizology Cosmic Current Planner, and in the 7 year, I've got some, people like to give their year a title. So it's analysis, contemplation, introspection, investigation, knowledge, mystical, reflection, research, and seeking. But it is tumbleweed. It is a sabbatical year. Nobody rings you back, right? And in that year, you can feel like you don't fit in, and there is loss, so that you can kind of recalibrate into your 8 year, because an 8 year, when you go into your 8 year, it's all about abundance, achievement, ambition, courage, drive, empowerment, yeah, which is 8. And then when you go in your 9 year, and we know you're a 9, compassion, completion, creativity, healing. So, yeah, I definitely hear you with regards to the loss. Actually, in my 7 year, in a 6 year, like I've been single a lot of my life, very one energy, right? But I fell in love in my 6 year. And 9 years ago, in my 6 year, I fell in love because 6 is about love. But then in my 7 year, and my 6 year, if relationships were not reciprocal, there was loss. Okay. So if I was giving too much and then somebody wasn't giving enough, client relationship as well as family, then it would end. And I found in the 7 year, with regards to relationship, like there's no prisoners. So in a previous life, I was a 9. Okay. I can be very 9, very loving, caring, and kind. If you turned up here right now with 10 people, there'd be like a meal for everyone, right? I'm very caring. But in a 7 year, I have literally wanted to go into like a little cave and take no prisoners. And because sevens are, you know, quite good at just going in their own little world. So yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, I sort of really retreated away from everything and everyone during that period, and I that was when I reinvented myself. I was forced into it in a way, but it was the best thing that ever happened, but it was really scary. It was a very scary time of, sort of really looking at, and that's when actually all of um the subconscious stuff started coming to the surface. So I couldn't sleep. I was having a lot of nightmares. And, I was trying to process a lot of my shadows that hadn't had the opportunity to rise to the surface up until when I'd completely boycotted myself from the energies that surrounded my identity, which was really my corporate life.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like going through the dark night of the soul and heart in a lot of ways. So yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? How powerful they can impact you with these personal years, and really interesting that you look at the personal months, the individual months that you're going through and the numerical influence of that. So it takes it, sort of gives it that extra meat on the bone, doesn't it? Which is
Yeah.
brilliant.
So I look at the year, then the month, and then today is Wednesday, and it's mercredi in French, and it's ruled by Mercury. And today is half feminine and half masculine, and it's a great day for all things Mercury. So it's a good travel day, a good communication day. It's a good day for podcast recording. It's a good day to talk all day. If Mercury's retrograde, being a bit of a trickster like it can be, then we just have to be a bit mindful. But I also look at the energies of the days as well. And that's being like, once you hear this, you can't unhear it. It's like game changing.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's great, isn't it? So, could you tell me about the biggest transformation that you've seen in one of your entrepreneurs that has followed your advice and guidance with regards to, integrating all of this wisdom that you shared with us today? What's been your best case scenario? Are you able to share that with us?
Yeah, yeah. So I've had a client who's worked with me for years and years and years and years, and she's a 22. And 22 is the architect of change, and they're here to see more, be more, and do more. And whatever we think to Mr. Donald Trump, he's a 22 and he's here to change the world one person at a time, right? So, my client, and she won't mind me saying Maggie, is a 22 and she's quite still in the 40s. So 22 kicks in a bit later on in life, 50s, 60s, later 70s, but 22s are old, 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 old souls. So she has a podiatrist clinic and it's really busy and she helps people, but she knew that she could do more. She knew that she could push it because right? Your numbers are inside you. So we worked together. She's created a beautiful uh, feet and leg cream, and it's very high end. And she's created clinics to go along with the cream. And she says to me, knowing her personal years, knowing she's a 22, knowing she's born on the 25th, which is seven learning, knowing the numbers that can trip her up, knowing the how she's seen, knowing the influences in her name. So we meet every month and have done for years and years, but we just keep her on track, keep moving forward, keep using your 22. So yeah, there's lots of examples, but um, Maggie's one of them.
That's wonderful, isn't it? And it must give you such a lovely, heartwarming feeling to be able to be a catalyst in other people's soul growth like that.
Yeah, because like I said earlier, I'll read you one thing actually. Life isn't easy, is it? We make it more difficult.
Mm.
And it's not meant to be a bed of roses because we're here to learn. We're here to learn what we didn't finish learning last time. And yesterday I spoke to Life Path 6, and she messaged me saying that the Bizology session was so validating and it helped her focus move forward and finally take things off hold, because everything I was saying about her chart and her six and how she is here to help people in the world, she was like, oh, I've always thought that, but other people have said to me, oh no, that won't work. And I said, and I'll be a bit naughty, opinions are like arseholes, everyone's got one. Put your blinkers on, follow your divine path.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good, isn't it? Well done. Okay, so one last thing before we go. I noticed something quite interesting today. So it is quite a pivotal time, I suppose, in my business, with regards to I've just literally launched my first book on Amazon, and I did it yesterday on the 25th of the 2nd, 2025. So it's all twos and fives, the 25 to 2025. What's the significance of that? Because I haven't had time to process or wrap my head around it, but I'd be really interested to get some feedback about that.
So you launched on a 9 day, and you are a nine. So nine is also about endings, but it would work for you because you are a nine and you completed the book and then put it out there, right? So when I wrote my book, I waited for a 3 day because my expression was a three and Soulology is a three and communication's a three. And then so yesterday was a 9 day. Tuesday, Mars, action. Get everyone to take action. Good. And then 25th is seven, and your approach is seven. So 9797. So your soul knew that that's the right day, right? You didn't have the time to crunch the numbers, but it was a 9 day with a seven approach. You're a nine with a seven approach. Magic.
Magic, that's exactly it. And that's what numerology is, isn't it? Numerology is magic.
Yeah, magic.
There you go, magic. Wonderful. Well, wow, what an incredible conversation that we've had with beautiful Jo Soley. I've really, really enjoyed meeting with you today, Joe, and I hope everybody who's been watching today has gained valuable insights into how numerology can align your business with your soul's purpose, bringing more flow, success, and abundance into your life. If today's episode resonates with you, don't forget to please like, subscribe, and to hit the notification of the bell so that you don't miss an episode of the Numerology Show. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, a review or a rating would mean the absolute world to me. It literally would. So it helps us to reach more people who are ready to unlock the powers of numbers. So, to connect with Jo and to dive deeper into Bizology, just check out her links in the description, as we mentioned before. And if you're curious about your own numerology and how it can transform your life, then you can also visit me at Dreamtime Academy. And I'd love to guide you on your journey and help unlock your starseed origins. That's what I specialize in is helping you to understand where your soul originates from after leaving source consciousness. So thank you once again for tuning in. Thank you, Jo, for being an amazing source and wealth of information today. It's like really left my mind spinning. And just remember that you hold the key to your own destiny. Until next time, stay aligned, stay inspired, and keep shining your light. See you soon on the Numerology Show.